What's up, everyone? I'm DJ Hamilton, and you're tuned into the DJ Sports Show, where we give you the latest, greatest, and most exciting sports stories in the world of sports. From interviews to having people's stories heard and told. This is the DJ Sports Show. Let's get it! Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host, DJ Hamilton, of DJ Sports Show. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. You know, some audio platforms I'm on, leave a 5-star rating and share anybody you know who loves sports. If you're watching visually, you'll see that I'm in a new location. I'm in my new home now. I'm in the basement. The lighting isn't the best, but you gotta work with what you got. If you guys haven't heard the recent news, on my radio station, WRCR, got sold to ABC earlier this week. I found out on Wednesday, and it was sudden, out of nowhere, shocking to say the least. And I'm kind of disappointed, but you know that's what business, media stuff happens. So you just gotta adjust. So I won't be on radio anymore, unfortunately, until I can find a news station that's reasonable and like not too far away that I could work with. Until then, I'll probably just do podcasts here in my house, just to continue to try to stay sharp and things of that nature. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know that those who did not see my social media posts recently on Facebook or IG stories or LinkedIn or Snapchat, I just want to let you guys know that, yeah, WRCR has been sold to ABC. They're canceling all programming, so I won't be on WRCR radio anymore. And I just want to say thank you to them for a year and a half of really enhancing my on-air skills, radio skills, and just getting a chance to be on-air personality and putting that on my resume and know what it's like to be a radio host on a syndicated radio station, like a legit radio station, not a student college-run station, even though those are good too. But to be a real one, that was a pleasure and honor. So I just want to say, yeah, thank you, WRCR, and I just want to let y'all know about that. But today, just want to give my little thoughts on NBA playoffs. I haven't really got to talk about it much. I just want to talk about the recent games I watched last night. Game 3 with the Cavaliers and Pacers, and then Game 3 with the Thunder and Nuggets. Just some quick stuff. So the Cavaliers, they got a well-needed win that they really needed in Game 3, defeating the Pacers 126-104 after blowing a 20-plus point lead in Game 2. Remember, they were without the Defensive Player of the Year, Evan Mobley, and their all-star point guard, Darius Garland. Darius Garland was dealing with a toe injury. Evan Mobley was dealing with an ankle injury. And I know a lot of people were making big deals about them being down 0-2. But I wasn't trying to make too much big of a deal about it because some people were calling the Cavs frauds and things of that nature. But I'm like, first of all, they're missing their Defensive Player of the Year. You're not just missing any just regular guy. Like, you're missing the Defensive Player of the Year and also a guy who's an all-star in Evan Mobley. He makes up so much ground defensively for your guys' team. And he covers up so much of the breakdowns on the perimeter when guys beat Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland or any of the other perimeter guys like Ty Jerome off the dribble. They have that backline defense back there to make up for the getting beaten by their man when he's back there at the rim. So when he's not there, that allows guys like Tyrese Halliburton to get to the rim and finish with ease and get easy points, break down the defense. Because we saw him countless times, not even in this series, get to the rim and hit big-time shots going to the basket against the Cavaliers. But also in the previous series, that Game 5 closeout game against the Milwaukee Bucks, against Giannis, that big-time play on the stretch, he got that big-time bucket that ended up sealing the win for the Pacers and beating the Bucks and sending them home. Because look like the Bucks had the game, but then Gary Trent had those little mishaps, those 2 big turnovers, and that opened up the game. He hit that big three-pointer, Tyrese Halliburton, and that drive against Giannis. So we've seen that, but this is a different ball game. You have Evan Mobley back, and Evan Mobley was tremendous for the Cavaliers, man. 18 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. I did some research yesterday, and the only players that ever put that up in a playoff game are Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kevin Durant, Tim Duncan, Nikola Jokic, and LeBron James. It's C. Webb and David Robinson. Let me not forget them as well. So Evan Mobley now joins that list of players who have put that type of stat line on in a playoff game. Now, the Cavs, but they also, Donovan Mitchell, man, he was tremendous as well. He's been tremendous throughout this whole series. He's averaging over 40 points per game. He had 43 in this game, 14 of 29 shooting. 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's one of 2 Cavaliers to average over 40 points in a 3-game span in the postseason. The other one is, of course, LeBron James. Now, the Cavaliers, I know when they were going to get their guys back in Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, that they were going to be rejuvenated, So kind of like, you can get up in the morning, you're tired, you need a little coffee, you put a little extra shot of espresso, that injection, and it gives you a life bolt of energy. The extra jolt that you need to get through your day. And that's what they got when they got their guys returning back in Defensive Player of the Year, Evan Mobley, and All-Star, and then Darius Garland, All-Star point guard. I knew getting Darius Garland back, whether he was 100% or not, I knew having someone who could take over that primary role of being the distributor and ball handler, taking the ball up the court, setting guys up, will take a lot of pressure off Donovan Mitchell to not have to be the primary initiator, creating for others, but also being the primary scorer as well. Because we saw in Game 2 at the end, he got gassed. He scored 48 points. He had 5 turnovers in that game as well. He was gassed. He was tired because there was so much responsibility on his shoulders because Mobley and Garland were out. And let me not forget, DeAndre Hunter was out too. They're the two-way player who has been instrumental for them. He's hitting threes at a high clip. He's one of their best versatile defenders. So they had 3 of their 4 top scorers out. That's why I wasn't trying to make a big deal. A lot of people on the internet saying Cavs are frauds and stuff. When you're missing 3 of your top 4 scorers, I expect you to struggle. Like that, we got to be logical here, people. Like, so I that's something I wasn't too worried about the Cavaliers. I was waiting to see how they're going to look when they have all their guys back. But yeah, they had a rejuvenation. They got the guys back in Mobley and Garland. And man, they came out of the gates gun blazing. 11-0 start to open up the game against the Indiana Pacers, who play at a frenetic pace. This is a team, it's like track meet when you play against them, man. Like a 100-meter dash, except for a full 48 minutes. Like, they don't not stop. They push the pace, and it's hard for you to catch. You got to be in tip-top shape playing against this team because they ain't going to slow down. They're not going to slow down for anybody. And Mobley's presence, I took some notes that, man, when I was watching the game, Mobley's presence, man, it showed why he was Defensive Player of the Year because he was altering shots at the rim. He was active everywhere. He was not allowing the Pacers to get any easy shots at the rim. Those easy shots that you saw in Game 2 when he was out, because I know he played Game 1 and that's where he hurt the ankle, but Game 2 when he was out, they were getting easy shots at the rim. Halliburton could go to the rim all day, Benedict Mathurin, all of them. But then when he was at the rim, along with Jared Allen, because, when you just have Mobley out, Jared Allen, and if he gets pulled out, there's no rim protector at the rim. And that allows for easy baskets at the rim because there's no big man down there to protect the paint. So having him back in the paint really made things tougher offensively for the Pacers. But yeah, they got off to a hot start. Mobley was really active early on defensively. The Pacers, they did get on a little 7-0 run. When Mitchell went to the bench, cut it to 8. There was a turnover on Ty Jerome I think around that moment as well, and that led to Benedict Mathurin 3. That cut the Cavs lead to just 5. Their offense started to seem to unravel, but then just like he's been showing progression all year offensively, Evan Mobley hit some back-to-back baskets that were key in kind of easing the bleeding and the momentum that the Pacers were building. He had a big 3 that kind of quieted the crowd. And I was like, oh, the Cavaliers, they desperately needed that 3 that he hit. So that's something I saw because that's something we didn't see him do that last season. Take some of the offensive initiative to be that guy, especially with Mitchell on the bench. And, Garland's kind of banged up. I want to see him be more aggressive. So he made a big 3, and then he had another shot at the rim as well. That back-to-back baskets that the team really needed. Garland had some foul trouble early on. He had 3 fouls in the first. And then also this kind of boneheaded foul, fourth foul, in the second quarter when he was trying to get freed up in the inbound play against Benedict Mathurin. He kind of pushed him, and that got agitated. Benedict Mathurin was kind of full court pressing him, and he was just trying to be a pest, I sort of say, and that kind of got Garland into the emotions and. He lost his cool right there, and that kind of got that fourth personal. And I was like, Garland, you got to be smarter than that, man. Your team needs you. Like, you're the point guard. You're the one who runs the show, who sets guys up. And he's not just as a distributor, but also you're a scorer too. You take pressure off Mitchell in the backcourt to having to score so much points, and Max Strus as well. Max Strus was the guy that got them off to a hot start because he scored 8 of the first 11 points. And in game two, it was him and Mitchell who had to do so much because you're asking guys like Ty Jerome and guys like that to play a role they're not accustomed to. But guys like Hunter, Garland, and Mobley out. Having those guys back allowed everybody to be able to be comfortable in the role that they're comfortable with and play to their ability. and that's what we saw. The Cavaliers, they shot 9 of 13 to start off, and then they kind of went cold near the end. You started to see the momentum kind of shift a little bit. Pacers went on a little run. They had that big three by Shepherd to tie the game to end the first quarter. And I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Is this going to be like what it was before in game 2? You're going to have a lead. You're going to blow it. What's going to happen? But then the Cavaliers, they continue to rally. They continue to stay composed. In that second quarter, the game kind of got a little chippy. Max Strus and Andrew Nembhard kind of get into it. You kind of sense these two teams kind of getting a little bit tired of each other. It's kind of a little bit of some friction going on between them. I remember I saw Max Strus kind of push into Nembhard, and Nembhard kind of retaliate a little bit. And that's what you're going to expect in the playoffs, man. Teams, they're ultra competitive. They're trying to win a championship, and they're going to do what it takes to help their team win. And the next thing I know, the Cavaliers kind of got their lead to double digits once again. There was second chance opportunities. The Cavaliers, man, they were tremendous on the offensive glass. I don't know. I forgot how many offensive rebounds they had, but as total as a team, they had 18 offensive rebounds, and they had 56 in total. So they had a lot of second chance opportunities. And Evan Mobley had 5 of those offensive rebounds. Jared Allen had 4 of those offensive rebounds. Donovan Mitchell even had 5 offensive rebounds himself. So if when you're getting chances on the glass to get second chance opportunities that open up the game for you, that makes things a lot easier. And Mobley was a plus 26 on the floor. Donovan Mitchell was a plus 35. Jared Allen was a plus 38. Like, when you have guys who are pluses on the floor or impact the game in multiple ways, and both of your big men had a double-double, that's going to help your team a lot. And Donovan Mitchell is doing what he does. He's playoff Donovan. He comes up in the big moments when your team needs him to. Man, he had this sick play where there was a few of them in the game, but I remember early on in the game, he had this sick play. He was driving to the rim. He contorted his body like this, looking like like MJ and young D Wade, where he contorted his body between two defenders, took the contact, finished at the rim strong. And I'm like, I think he got fouled on the play. I was like, whoa. I was like, Spider, whoa there. His body control is some of the best in the NBA. I think of all the players in the NBA who have some of the best body control, it's Donovan Mitchell, John Morant, and I think maybe Anthony Edwards in terms of aerial artists in the air who can contort their body and finish acrobatic layups. And let me not forget Kyrie Irving, because he can do it too, but he's more below the rim. Those guys do it above the rim, and they can do it below the rim too. But yeah, that was that play. And he had another play later on in the game where he had this crazy and one. He didn't make the free throw, but I was in awe when I was watching. There's a reason why a lot of people call him D Wade, because he's unstoppable, man, and he does not stop. He's relentless, and he was attacking the basket. And one thing I liked that he wasn't doing, he wasn't settling for jumpers. He was continuously attacking the basket, especially in that second half when the Pacers looked like they were going to make a run to try to come back. I wanted to see if the Cavaliers, because they had a lead going into the half, I wanted to see if they were going to keep their foot on the gas pedal, or were they going to kind of get complacent and let the Pacers come back. But they didn't get complacent because they learned from their mistake in game 2. And then having Mobley and them back kind of helped out a little bit, because it allowed Mitchell to have more energy for the second half. Because remember, in the first game, he had to expound so much energy creating for others, but also getting his own shot as well. And the Pacers defense, they're game planning to stop him because they know he's the number one option. So that's something that I really took and saw from this game. In the first half, the Pacers shot 28% from 3. They allowed 21 second chance points. And they also only had 4 second chance points on their end in the first half. Third quarter, we saw Miles Turner. He had a apparent leg injury. What about 6 minutes, a little bit over 6 minutes to go in the third. After that, he looked like he was a little bit limping a little bit. That he didn't look like someone who was fully healthy and 100%. But yeah, the Cavaliers, man, they get a much needed game 3 win. They needed it desperately. Donovan Mitchell came up to the plate once again. Shout out to Evan Mobley. Like, he didn't just do it on the defensive end. Like, he showed his value defensively and why he won Defensive Player of the Year, because it wasn't easy finishing at the rim and getting any easy looks at the rim when he was down there in the paint, along with Jared Allen. But he also on the offensive end, especially when the Pacers were going on that big run early in the first half when Mitchell was on the bench, he had some key baskets that kind of stopped the momentum a little bit that the Pacers were building up, because it looked like the game was about to get out of hand. But then he hit those 2 baskets that they really needed on back-to-back. I think it was back-to-back possessions, if I'm not mistaken. or if not, but then he did hit 2 key baskets. Cleveland was definitely more physical on the glass. I feel like the Pacers got out hustled on the glass. They're kind of being a little bit soft down there in the paint. And then, yeah, like I said, and I mentioned that in my notes, Evan Mobley was kind of like a bunny rabbit. He was everywhere. They even played him at like a 3-2. They're at the top of the key as the big man, and he was at the top of the 3-2 zone. And I was like, whoa, big man at the top of the 3-2 zone? You don't see that every day. They're usually the two in the back near the paint area. But that shows his uniqueness as a defender because he can move his feet. He's great. He has quick feet laterally, and he has a 7'5", 6" wingspan. So he covers a lot of ground. And that's what we saw in Game 3. And if they do that same thing in Game 4, they can go back to Cleveland and tie the series, and then the momentum will be back on their side for a chance to go home and go up 3-2. But we'll see what happens in Game 4. But this was a must-win game for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they did a great job defensively on Tyrese Halliburton. He was held to just 4 points on 2 of 8 shooting. This is a guy who has been pretty much hot throughout the playoffs and has been one of the best playoff performers and did a phenomenal job. He was minus 20 from the field. Minus 20 in the game, excuse me. So they did a tremendous job game planning against him defensively, not letting him get any easy looks. He only had 1 3-point shot attempt, and they did a good job basically neutralizing him in the game. But let's see what they do in Game 4 because they know the Pacers can come with some adjustments and things of that nature. But yeah, that's pretty much what I saw in Game 3 on the Eastern Conference side and yesterday's Cavaliers and Pacers game. So the next game I want to get into is the Thunder Nuggets. Basically, the two heavyweights, the MVP favorites, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic, both had tremendous games in each of the first 2 games. Jokic had 42 and 22 in Game 1 to have the Nuggets take Game 1. Game 2, Shai had 34 points, if I'm not mistaken, and he showed why he's in the favorite to be MVP as well. Both those guys came up big when their teams needed them to. Game 3, they both really struggled. They both really struggled, to say the least. Shai was just 18 points he was a -4 in the game, but he did have 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. They were doing a great job in crowding Shai. Like every time I watched the game, they were sending 2 over, crowding him. Whenever he was in the corner or at the top of the key, anytime he had the ball, they were throwing 2 defenders at him immediately. So he couldn't even get into his little bag that he likes to get into, that little one-on-one dance he likes to do, going to the rim or get into his mid-range spot, because they were immediately crowding him so he wouldn't get any rhythm going. And that forced him to pass the ball up. Early on, he was doing a great job finding cutters like Lou Dort, J-Dub, finding guys like J-Dub and Chet for 3. Lou Dort cut it to the rim early on in the first half. So he was trying to impact the game in other ways. But he really was struggling. He was 7 of 22 from the field. They were doing Denver Nuggets, they did a tremendous job crowding him and making life tough for him. Jalen Williams, though, he was the guy for them in this game. He had 32 points, 3 boards. He was the leading scorer for the Thunder. He almost helped them win this game, but Denver Nuggets, man. Who stepped up? Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. Nikola Jokic struggled in this game. Yeah, he had 20 points, but he was 0 of 10 from 3. He was 8 of 25 from the field. He did have 16 rebounds, though, 2 blocks, 2 steals, and 6 assists. So he was impacting the game in other ways like he always does on the offensive end and on the glass. But Michael Porter Jr., man, I know he's playing with that. We have to give him a lot of credit. He has a bum, left shoulder. And anyone who plays, even in regular life, not even just in sports, but in life, when you have a bad shoulder that you can't even lift up, raise your arm, and this guy's out here playing professional sport with a bad shoulder where you have to go for rebounds, shoot the ball and everything, and you have at this intensity in the playoffs. So you got to give him a lot of credit, man. And I know he was 3 of 18 in the first 2 games. He wasn't shooting the ball particularly well at all. But in this game, his pain tolerance is incredible. He has 21 points. He had 7 of 10 from the field, 5 of 6 from 3. He was scorching hot from 3. So was Aaron Gordon, 4 of 6 from 3. He shot 7 of 11 from the field. They combined for 43 points, Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. They hit some key baskets down the stretch and throughout this game that kept the Nuggets afloat or helped them tie the game and eventually gain the lead. They hit some key baskets. And same with Jamal Murray. He was attacking the basket, getting to the foul line. He was not settling for jumpers. He was getting to the rim. And he was incredible. He was also creating and dishing for others. He had 8 assists in the game as well. So he was also being the other distributor outside of Jokic. And Jamal Murray, man, this guy, he had this sick play. We in transition, he went behind the back and he kind of was going against the defender, drove the contact, finished beautifully with the left hand. It's like, this is why these guys are NBA players, man. Like, he made that look so routine and easy. Anyone who tries to play basketball, you go in full speed and go behind the back with a defender on you and you finish with your weak hand. That's not easy. That's not. He made it look so routine. But there's a reason why these guys are NBA players. And I know early on the Thunder, they were getting, because early on the Thunder looked like they came out gunning, like just like similar to the Cavaliers in the first game I spoke about. The Thunder, they were got off to a quick start, 8-0 start, starting off. Chet Holmgren was very aggressive early on. He had 16 first half points, I believe, and he finished, let me check. How many points did he finish with? He finished with 18. So he kind of went cold in the second half, but in the first half, he was tremendous. He had 16 of his 18 in the first half. He had 16 rebounds in the game, 3 blocks, and a steal. So he was affecting the game as well. Early on, we saw how they were trying to get Jokic out on the perimeter to guard Chet. Jokic might have the strength advantage on Chet, but Chet has the quickness advantage. He was drawing Jokic on the perimeter a lot and trying to get him in one-on-one situations. That's what he did. He had this one where Jokic closed out on him, and this shows the evolution of the NBA. He had the ball at top of the key. He was playing little dancing, little dribbling against Jokic, and he blew by him and finished at the rim. I think he went under the rim and finished on the other side of the backboard off the glass and in. I was like, whoa, that's 7-1 moving like that. That's that Dirk KD effect right there. Those guys inspired this generation of young cats to do those type of moves and have that type of confidence to evolve their game and expand their game. And that's what I saw in that one-on-one situation. And then he had another one later on in the game where he drove strong to the rim and kind of got Jokic in that second foul in the first quarter. So he was attacking early on, being aggressive. And Jokic is going to do what he does. He's going to try to get guys in foul trouble. He's going to use his size advantage and strength and girth against Holmgren. But Holmgren was using his speed early on and trying to tire out Jokic. And one thing that Thunder were trying to do, if you're going to beat this Nuggets team, you got to push the pace. And they were doing that early on because Holmgren was filling the lane perfectly in transition. They were pushing the pace, finding him at the rim, and he was doing great early on. But yeah, this game, I know the two MVP candidates, they really struggled. they really struggled. Both of them combined shot for, so Shea shot for 7 of 22, and Jokic 8 of 25. So they combined for 15 of 47 shooting. I don't expect that to happen again in Game 4 when these two go at each other. I believe it'll be Sunday. I'm recording this Saturday at 11 something in the morning. So yeah, this is before the Celtics and Knicks game, which is later on today. So yeah, that's something that's going to be interesting to watch going forward. But I expect the Thunder to come back out in Game 4 and really try to, because Game 4 is a must-win for the Thunder. You can't afford to go down 3-1 against this Nuggets team. I know you have a lot of firepower and stuff like that, but it's hard to come back from a 3-1 deficit. Very few teams in NBA history have ever done that. So, yeah, I just think the Thunder, I think Shea's going to come out and have an MVP type performance. He's going to show why he was an MVP finalist. I think he's going to come out with a 30-plus point game. He's going to be more efficient. I think J-Dub's going to do his thing. Chet's going to do his thing. I need Hartenstein to do the best he can against Jokic. Easier said than done. This guy is the best player in the world. Do what you can. But I expect them to come out with more energy because I think the altitude was affecting them a little bit because especially later on in the game, they looked a little bit drained. I ain't gonna lie, they looked a little bit flat energy-wise in that second half, especially when I saw the fourth quarter and then when they went into overtime, it looked a little bit flat. That altitude seemed to be getting to them because I saw Shea a little bit. He looked a little bit gassed. I'm not gonna lie. J-Dub too near the end seemed to lost his legs under him. He was kind of falling short on some of his shots. Shea was short on a lot of his shots. I just feel like the altitude was getting to them and pressure. So, but we'll see. I think they'll adjust. They'll make some necessary adjustments. To do what they have to do in Game 4, and I think they'll tie the series going back to OKC for Game 5. I still have the Thunder. I chose them to win this series. I remember we were doing my playoff predictions with Armani and my boy Dylan. I chose the Thunder in 6 or 7, whoever they played in the next round. Because I remember I chose the Denver Nuggets to beat the Clippers in the first round. But I have them because I think they're the better team. But the Nuggets have the best player in the world. I won't be shocked if the Nuggets win the series, but hey, I'll go down with losing. If if the Thunder lose, I'll take that. I mean, that's what you got to do when you're a reporter analyst. You're not gonna get everything right. So, and then for the Cavaliers Pacers, I think the Cavaliers will take Game 4. I think they Hopefully Garland's okay because he did kind of stub his toe when he was going down for a loose ball on that one play. And he looked like he kind of reactivated that injury. And if you're playing, like, say, like anyone who ever stubbed their toe on the furniture, try how painful that is, and try having to walk around on that whilst playing in intensity of an NBA playoff game. Not easy, painful. So that's something. I think the Cavaliers will take Game 4. I think the Thunder will take Game 4. I think they'll both tie up the series. I expect both of these series to be long series. I think the Cavs will defeat the Pacers in 6, 7. I have Thunder defeating the Nuggets in probably 6 or 7 as well. So yeah, it's some interesting games, some interesting series. It's a great series we have. If you're a basketball fan, you gotta love this time of year. These games are competitive. We've seen teams come back down from 20-0, like the Knicks against the Celtics. But those are some of my points. But yeah, I just want to talk about a little bit of the Knicks and Celtics before we close it out. And then the Warriors, Timberwolves. So Knicks and Celtics. Knicks have been coming back back-to-back games down 20. The Celtics, they're just shooting too many threes, man. When you shoot 15 of 60 in one of the games from three, I think it was game 1, they shot 15 of 60 from three. At some point, you got to say, okay, this ain't working. Let's readjust. Let's do something else here. Let's change up the game plan. Let's attack the basket. Let's draw fouls. Let's get into the mid-range. Like, let's run some pick and roll. Let's do some, like, stop selling for so many threes. And then when I was watching, I know Jaylen Brown playing with a bum knee. He doesn't look like as explosive as he did last year in the playoffs or even earlier this season. He doesn't look like he has the same explosion. And one thing I like from the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, man, he's been, to me, arguably the best player in the postseason. Like, this guy has been incredible for the Knicks. Incredible. And then what he's doing against the backcourt defense, against that backcourt defense of the Celtics that has the best backcourt defense, in my opinion, in the league, and Jrue Holiday and Derek White, two phenomenal one-on-one defenders. The way he just absorbs contact and draws contact against someone like Holiday, he kind of like bullying Holiday, and I've never seen Holiday kind of get bullied. It's just amazing to watch. He is the true sole leader of that Knicks team. And then the fact that he just finds a way to make guys better as well. Mikal Bridges has been pretty solid for them. As OG Anunoby has been the Jason Tatum neutralizer. He has the strength, the height, and the length, and the lateral quickness and athleticism to disrupt Jason Tatum's offensive rhythm. He has been wreaking havoc on Tatum. Not just this series, but throughout his career, he has been a pest against Jason Tatum because he matches up against him so well. And Jason Tatum has been kind of looking like 2022 Jason Tatum because some of the selling for too much threes, long twos. When he has a shorter man on him, he's not really attacking the basket. He's kind of settling for jumpers instead of bullying a small defender on him and using his strength and size at 6'8", 6'9", and trying to go to the rim. And I don't know if it's that wrist injury that he suffered against the Magic earlier in the playoffs that's affecting his shot and not wanting to go to the rim and get smacked on the wrist. But something seems to be up with Jason Tatum. He doesn't look like the Jason Tatum that's making smart decisions and dissecting the defense that we've been accustomed to over these last 4 or 5 months when he was playing some of the best basketball of his career. I think this is probably arguably the best season of his career in terms of, maybe not statistically, but overall IQ of the game, understanding of the game, and being smart in your decisions and shot selection. And the Celtics, they live by the three and die by the three. And I also, Porzingis being sick, him being out, he didn't look very well when he went out with the illness. He looked kind of pale. I just hope he's well because if the Celtics are going to win this series, Game 3 is today at the Garden. This is a must-win, or you're down 0-3 in the series. There's no team that's ever come back down from a 3-0 deficit, 0-3 deficit. No team. The Celtics almost did it 2 years ago in 2023 against Miami Heat, but Jason Tatum hurt his ankle in Game 7 against the Heat, and then he wasn't the same in that game, and the Heat ended up winning, going to the finals that year. They lost to the Nuggets. So you can't afford. You got to win both these games at the Garden. If you lose any one of these games at the Garden, I think the series is over. And I had the Celtics being the Knicks in 6 or 7. I still believe in that. Whether they go down losing, I'll take that. I'll be happy either way because I'm from New York. So, but I think the Celtics will still find a way to make this a very long series, go 6 or 7. I think they're going to take both games at the Garden. They were a really good road team all season long. I think they're going to find a way. This is the reason why you guys are champions. You guys are battle tested. That's why I'm kind of perplexed. The last 2 games, you guys blew a 20-plus point lead in both of the games and lost the game. Like, this is, I don't know what's going on, but you got to figure it out. So, Celtics, I think they'll take game 3 today against the New York Knicks, and before this gets games later on today. So, I think the Celtics will take that game. And then the Timberwolves Warriors series, I'm just giving my quick thoughts because I've been busy moving for the last week. So, I just try to catch what I can. But one thing I see is I know Steph Curry's out now with hamstring. He suffered in game 1, which is a bummer because I was looking forward to seeing Steph versus Anthony Edwards. Because Anthony Edwards bounced out KD and LeBron in the postseason and Nikola Jokic within this last year. And now I want to see him against another one of the game's Goliaths in NBA history, Stephen Curry. But then now he hurt his hamstring. And there's reports saying he won't be able to return until a possible game 6. That's if the series even extends that long. And we saw a scare with Anthony Edwards with his ankle, but fortunately he came back. We'll see how he looks tonight in game 3. This game's tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. But we'll see what happens. I think the Timberwolves, they need to do a better job orchestrating and facilitating their offense. They kind of make some boneheaded plays a lot. They don't really, initiate their offense well. And I just want them to take their time on their offensive end, really get into your offense, run your sets. Get Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, I want to see you. You have a great chisel build. He kind of avoids contact too much for me. For someone as athletic as him, kind of absorb the contact, get into it, and get to the foul line. Embrace it. Maybe because he's seen guys in the past like D Wade who took a lot of contact, Manu Ginobili, and over time that takes a toll on your body. Maybe he's trying to avoid that. But when you're someone as dynamic and as athletic as Anthony Edwards, you got to utilize your God-given gifts. You got to embrace that contact, expect to hopefully get a foul call or just look to try to finish strong at the rim. You're athletically superior than pretty much almost everybody in the NBA. Probably the only person near as athletic as Anthony Edwards are like Thompson twins and John Morant currently in the NBA. So Anthony Edwards, I want you to be more aggressive and stop shying away from the contact. And then Jimmy Butler, the Warriors, they're going to need Jimmy Butler to step up, man. I know he's on the old. I don't think he's in his prime anymore. I don't think he's a guy who could take over a game consistently as your number one, like we saw in his Miami Heat years, Chicago Bulls years, or even when he was on Philly a little bit and the Minnesota Timberwolves back in the day, because I think he's at a different stage of his career. I know everybody's expecting, playoff Jimmy, but if you kind of watch him, he's not the same, like, consistently affecting the game. And we kind of saw that in game 2. They're going to need him to really, really step up if they want any shot in this series. Buddy Hield could try to have a hot game, but he's inconsistent. He's hot and cold. We know Draymond's not an offensive guy. He's going to do what he does defensively. We don't know because he shot pretty well, I think, in game, 1 or 2 from 3. But I don't know if that's going to stay consistent. And then Jonathan Kuminga, his confidence kind of shot. I don't expect him to be like a real contributor, impactful guy because he didn't play throughout most of the postseason. And then you have guys like Podziemski and stuff. But I just don't think this Warriors team without number 30 and Steph Curry, I don't think they have a chance. I remember this series, because I had the Lakers being the Timberwolves. Of course, that didn't happen, but I said Timberwolves Warriors. I have Wolves in 6. I think they'll defeat the Warriors in 6. Even without Steph, I think there'll be one game where the Timberwolves just don't execute well enough and then Jimmy Butler will have a big game, at least 1 or 2 games. I think the series will go 6. I had Timberwolves winning. But I just think the impact of Steph being injured now, it just kind of takes a lot of the appeal away from the series. I hate seeing injuries. I like to see teams fully healthy and go at it. But, injuries are part of the game, unfortunately. But, yeah, I see Steph Curry being out. It's going to hamper the Warriors as their go-to guy, as the number 1 option. He attracts so much on as the offensive guy who moves without the ball. He opens up things for other players, and the defense always usually has to send 2 at him at times, and it opens up an open shot for somebody or a cutter at the rim for an easy basket or open 3 for a teammate. So without him on the floor, there's no guy like that. The defense, they can strategize and be able to stick to their man and not have to chase somebody around constantly on the perimeter who's a threat the way Steph Curry is from out to 35 feet, which expands the defense. So not having him out there is a real bummer. But yeah, those are my predictions and some of my analysis for some of the games recently. I think I have the Thunder taking game 4. I have Cavs taking game 4. I think they're going to tie the series. I have Wolves winning tonight as we record this before the game, Saturday games. Tonight to take a 2-1 series lead. I think they'll win the series as well since Steph is out. Hopefully he returns sooner. That might change. So we don't know how hamstrings are. They're very tricky, but they said the earliest game 6, if it even goes to a game 6. And then I have what's the other series? Celtics Knicks. I have Celtics. I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll get their stuff together. Show why they were the defending champions, and win both games on the road, and prove the championship medal. So I think they'll go winning the Garden, and the Garden tickets, they're expensive. Anyone going to the Garden? Have fun, because I think the lowest ticket is $700-something, and that's like all the way up in the nosebleed. So good luck. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for today's show. Just talking some NBA hoops, some of my thoughts, and some of the notes I talked to some things I've been seeing. Even though I've been busy moving, so I haven't gotten to be able to lock in as much as I want to. But yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. If you guys like this episode, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Share anybody you know who loves sports. I'm gonna continue to try to upload all my episodes to Spotify. Since I made a new Spotify, I had to make a new account, unfortunately, so I have to finish uploading all my episodes. So continue to check me out. Leave a rating on Spotify. Once I finish that, I'm trying to get back on Apple and other platforms. But you can check me out on Spotify and YouTube. Leave a like, subscribe on YouTube, and share. Anybody who loves sports. And then Spotify, leave a rating and share it. Anybody you know who loves sports. I'm your host, DJ Hamilton, DJ Sports Show, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.